Have you ever wondered what true loyalty looks like? Picture this: a scruffy little dog, a worn-out ragdoll, and a brave young girl whose life was about to change forever. The sun peeked over the horizon, casting a warm glow across the sleepy town of Oakville. For a tear-old Sarah Johnson, this Saturday held the promise of adventure. Her family had planned a picnic at Willow Creek Park, and Sarah couldn't contain her excitement. But the real star of the day wasn't the sandwiches or the sunshine. It was Max, Sarah's loyal golden retriever. Max wasn't your typical pedigree pup. He had been astray, discovered shivering behind a dumpster on a cold autumn night. Sarah had pleaded with her parents to keep him, and though they were hesitant at first, they couldn't resist her determined puppy dog eyes. From that day forward, Max became more than just a pet. He was Sarah's constant companion, her furry confidant, and her four-legged guardian. As the Johnsons packed up their picnic basket, Sarah clutched her most prized possession, a tattered teddy bear named Mr. Snuggles. The bear had been with her through thick and thin, silent witness to her triumphs and tears. Where Sarah went, Mr. Snuggles followed. The family arrived at the park, spreading their blanket near a babbling brook. The air was filled with the scent of wildflowers and the melody of chirping birds. Sarah and Max raced through the open field, the little girl's laughter mixing with the dog's excited barks. Mr. Snuggles bounced along in Sarah's arms as she twirled and danced beneath the cloudless sky. As the afternoon wore on, Sarah's eyes were drawn to a narrow path leading into the woods. Curiosity sparked in her bright blue eyes. "Come on, Max," she called. "Let's go exploring, okay?" The golden retriever wagged his tail enthusiastically, ready to follow his young friend anywhere. Together, they ventured down the trail, leaving the safety of the open meadow behind. The path twisted and turned, leading them deeper into the forest than Sarah had anticipated. The trees grew denser, their branches casting long shadows across the ground. The cheerful sounds of the park faded away, replaced by the rustling of leaves and the occasional snap of a twig. But Sarah, caught up in her imaginary quest, didn't notice the change. In her mind, she was a brave explorer, with Max as her loyal sidekick. Suddenly, disaster struck. Sarah's foot caught on an exposed root hidden beneath a carpet of fallen leaves. She cried out as she fell, Mr. Snuggles flying from her grasp. A sharp pain shot through her ankle, and when she tried to stand, she crumpled back to the ground with a whimper. Fear gripped her heart as she realized how far they had wandered from her parents. Max barked frantically, circling his fallen friend. Sarah's face contorted with pain and fear, tears streaming down her cheeks. "Max," she sobbed. "I can't walk. It hurts so much." The little girl's cries echoed through the forest, but her parents were too far away to hear. Panic began to set in as Sarah realized how alone they were. She buried her face in Max's soft fur, whispering through her tears, "You have to get help, boy. Hey, please, Max. Go find Mom and Dad." As if he understood the gravity of the situation, Max gently picked up Mr. Snuggles in his mouth. He looked at Sarah, his brown eyes filled with determination, then turned and bolted down the path. The golden retriever ran as he had never run before. His paws pounded against the earth. Mr. Snuggles clutched firmly between his teeth. He dodged low-hanging branches and leaped over fallen logs, driven by an instinct to protect his young friend. Out of the woods he flew, across the sun-dappled meadow, towards the cluster of picnickers still enjoying their afternoon. Heads turned in surprise as the mud-splattered dog came tearing across the grass. Barking around the stuffed bear in his mouth, he skidded to a halt in front of Mr. and Mrs. Johnson, who had just begun to worry about their daughter's extended absence. "Max," Mrs. Johnson's voice quavered. "Where's Sarah?" The dog dropped Mr. Snuggles at their feet, barked urgently, then spun around and sprinted back towards the tree line. Mr. Johnson's face paled. "He's trying to show us something. Quick, follow him." They chased after Max, hearts pounding with fear and hope. The dog led the way, barking constantly, never slowing until they reached the spot where Sarah lay huddled beneath an old oak tree. "Sarah," her mother cried, dropping to her knees and gathering her daughter into her arms. Relief and concern warred in her voice as she held her close. Sarah managed a weak smile through her tears. "Max did it," she whispered. "Got Mr. Snuggles and found you." Her father scooped her up, murmuring words of comfort. "You're safe now, sweetheart. We've got you." As they carried her back to the picnic area, it was clear that Sarah's injury was serious. They rushed to the emergency room, Max trotting faithfully by their side, Mr. Snuggles once again held proudly in his mouth. The doctors confirmed it was a severe sprain, not a fracture, but Sarah would need several weeks to recover fully. Her parents shuddered to think what might have happened if Max hadn't acted so quickly and bravely. Lost in the woods as night fell, their daughter could have been in real danger. Word of Max's heroic deeds spread rapidly through Oakville. Neighbors shared the story, local newspapers picked it up, and soon even regional news stations were featuring the tale. Headlines proclaimed, "Rescued stray becomes young girl's guardian angel." Sarah beamed with pride whenever someone praised her furry hero. "I always knew he was special," she would say, hugging Max tightly. "Now everyone else can see it too." But for Max, the attention meant little. His only concern was staying by Sarah's side as she recovered, nudging Mr. Snuggles into her arms when she felt down, and offering comforting licks when the pain in her ankle flared up. When Sarah was finally strong enough to walk without crutches, the Johnsons made a return trip to Willow Creek Park. This time, Sarah held Mr. Snuggles in one arm and Max's leash in the other, taking careful but confident steps down the once treacherous path. Her parents stayed close, watchful but proud of their daughter's resilience. They paused at the spot where she had fallen. The memory was still vivid, but now it was tinged with gratitude. Sarah knelt down, wrapping her arms around Max's neck. "You're my real-life superhero," she whispered into his fur. "Thank you for saving me." Max's tail wagged furiously, and he let out a joyful bark that seemed to say, "I'll always be here for you." From that day forward, the bond between Sarah and Max became legendary in Oakville. At school, Sarah would proudly tell her classmates, "Max isn't just my dog. He's my best friend and my protector." The certainty in her voice left no room for doubt. As the years passed, the story of that fateful day remained etched in their hearts. Sarah grew taller, traded stuffed animals for textbooks, but she never forgot the loyal dog who had carried Mr. Snuggles through the forest to save her. And Max, though his muzzle gradually turned gray and his steps slowed with age, never wavered in his devotion. On peaceful evenings, as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in brilliant shades of orange and pink, Sarah would sit on the porch swing with Max curled at her feet. Mr. Snuggles, a bit more threadbare, but still cherished, would rest in her lap. She would smile, running her fingers through Max's soft fur and along the worn fabric of her childhood toy, reflecting on the incredible journey they had shared. Sometimes, she would murmur, "The greatest heroes come in the most unexpected packages." Max, as always, would gaze up at her with eyes full of unwavering love and loyalty, silently promising that he would do it all again in a heartbeat.